In this video, I'll look at classes and objects. We'll have a look at classes, what they are, what they do, and we'll also look at how you create objects from a class and what they are and what they do as well. First, let's look at what is a class. A class is a blueprint for creating an object. The keyword class is used to declare a class, and when we name a class, we always use an uppercase letter for its first letter. By the term blueprint, I mean we set out exactly everything that you need to be able to create the object. We're going to look at the code one chunk at a time. So, first of all, we create a class. The class, we use the class keyword. We start the name of the class with an uppercase letter. And then we use a colon at the end. The init magic method, of which there are many magic methods, but this is just one that we're going to use today, and it starts with self. We use this to construct an object, and in this object it has these attributes of color, name, size, and we have given them some default values. So if I create this object, it will create an object of these with these attributes, but we can't view it. So far we have a class which we have used the init magic method to create an object or construct an object. This object has some attributes which are color, size, and name. The behavior of the object so far is that it will set the color and you can show the object. And in order to be able to get it to perform these actions, we have to send it messages. These messages are the protocol messages the object can understand that make it perform an action. And this is done by creating methods in the class. So the class ends up with the constructor and some methods which allow it to understand messages and perform actions. We need to be able to send it some messages. So these two methods here are messages that it understands, and we call this the protocol. So there's just these two messages: show the object, which will return the values of the attributes, and set color, which changes the color to whatever color you put into it. So let's have a look at this. If I create, first of all, an object, and we do this in the usual way, so I'm going to do object 1 equals my class. Now we've created this object, but we can't see it yet. So now if I do object 2, we now have two objects, but we can't test this out until we send it some messages. So if I send object 1 show object, it's going to return these default colors, print them out rather I should say. it's going to print out the default colors. Now, if I do the same for object 2, it's going to give the same default colors. However, if I send object 2 a different, or let's send object 1 change its color, it's going to some other color, this will now be different to object 2. So I'll just prove to you that object 2 is exactly the same at current as object 1. So now if I do object 1 and set the color to white, and now if we do show object 1, we can see that now the color has changed to white. If I do show object 2, yeah, object 2, and we're sending it the message show object, it is still red. Can you see now that these are 2 objects? What is an object? An object is a thing created from the class. So we use the class as a blueprint to give us everything that we need to create the object. An object has attributes and behaviors. Attributes are characteristics of an object, such as its color, size, and shape. Behaviors are actions that the object can perform. And the only way to get an object to perform its actions is to send it messages. We have the constructor, which initializes the object, and we've given it default values. This object understands only 2 messages. Show the object, which returns the attributes, or displays the attributes, and set color, which changes the color to anything that you enter into this variable. So hopefully you can see that now we have 2 objects, and the reasoning behind this is because we didn't have to rewrite this code to create different objects. We can now interact with the objects by using these messages. Let's visualize this. What we've done so far is create a class and called it my class. This class has behaviors, attributes, and a protocol. We created 2 objects from this class, and each of these objects is an instance of my class. They both consist of the same attributes, behavior, and protocol when first initialized, because they're created from the blueprint. However, by the use of messages, we can change the values to each of the objects. I've added 2 new methods, and these are both messages. We're able to use these to send messages, and I've also added a line of code to set color. So what's going to happen is when I pass a value into set color, it's going to set color to that value, and then it's going to go to object size, which is one of the new methods, and it's going to pass color into here, a color. This doesn't have to be the same as this, by the way. This is just the value that it's given once it passes into this method. Then it will go through a decision and decide which one of the outputs it's going to be. I have a return statement here, but the return statement that doesn't really mean anything. It won't do anything. It will pass it back to here, but then it just stops. I would have to place a return statement in here to make that print this here. This only works if I call this method over here and pass the color in that way. So let me show you what's going on. Now let's do this show just to make sure that it's still working here. Show object. I know what I've done wrong. Okay, so yeah, the color is red, it's square, blah blah blah. Now remember that the size here, this makes a decision based upon the color. So if the color is red, the size is big. If the color is blue, the size is medium. If it's any other color, the size is small. So let me show you what I mean by if I call it directly. If I do object 1 and object size. Now this takes an argument, so if I add into there blue, this should give return a medium. There, you see, so it has returned this value here. The size of the object is medium. So if I call object 1 and set the color to yellow, now it doesn't return it. But if I do object 1 dot show object, now you can see that the color has changed to yellow and the size has now changed to small. So it has had an effect there. If I head over to here and put pop something in here. So if I do color, right, yeah, print this. If I print that now, I run it. So if I do, where are we? Object 1 created, show the object, and it's back to the default settings because it's just been made. Let's clear this. That's where we were. So now if I set the color to yellow, now it gives a printout. The size of the object is small, and it's made a difference here. It's changed this to small because it's gone through here. So what we need to do is have a look at what's going on here. Right, okay, if we undo this, I'm going to call this so it goes through it. It will step through it and you'll be able to see what's going on. So we go through it step by step. Class is being made. It steps over the constructor, steps over all of the methods, looking for a piece of code to tell it to run. Now this is telling it to run. It's saying from this class, call this method and set its value to blue. Now it's going to set color. It sets the color and then it moves on to this here, which then tells it to move on to this method here. You watch. So now it's moved over here and it's checking what the colors are, and a color at the current is blue because we set it to blue down here. Okay, so this is, the color blue got passed into here. This value self color was changed to the value that was in here, so that's blue. It's now passed blue into here, so this is blue. It's not equal to blue, so it moves on to the next one. Blue, and this is blue, so it's going to stop here and then it's going to move on to this part here. Now it returns this to the caller. Now the caller in this case was this one here, so it's going to pass this, all of this, into here and print it. And there it is. The size of the object is medium, and that is correct because if the object is blue, then its size is medium. So we haven't done this method here, so let's quickly just go through that. I'll create an object 1, my class, and then I do object 1 and send it the message set name. We don't have to pass anything into the argument because it doesn't take any additional arguments, but it will perform an action, and that action is to ask us to enter a name. So we enter a name, let's put Tony. Not an interesting shape. Now, when I do object 1 dot show object, it has set the name to Tony, the color is red, the size is big. So just to go over this section again, this little part again, we made, I've made 2 new methods which understand messages. There's another method here which was already there, but I added in this piece of code. When I invoke this code, this is called invoking the code when I do the set color thing, I pass a color into it. This color then sets the self.color to a color, then moves on to this line and calls object size with the color. So it then moves down to here, passes the color that we entered in, and then checks it against these conditional statements here. So if it's red, it comes back as big. If it's blue, it comes back as medium. If it's anything else, it comes back as small, and then it returns this. This is returned back to here, into here, and then that is printed. To summarize, we've created a class. A class is a blueprint for creating an object. You can create as many objects as you like, but each time you do, they have an initial state. Every object is its own instance of the class. We can communicate with each object by sending it messages. The messages that the object can understand are called the protocol.
If you liked this video, click the like button and subscribe for more.